At some point, you stopped giving people the benefit of the doubt. Not because you wanted to be cold, not because you enjoy being distant, but because trusting the wrong people cost you something real. Maybe it cost you your peace. Maybe it cost you your stability. Maybe it cost you years of your life. And once you've been disappointed enough times, your mind does something smart, but dangerous at the same time. It decides that closeness equals risk. So you start moving differently. You keep conversations surface level. You don't rely on anyone. You read between every line. You assume people will eventually disappoint you, because experience taught you they usually do. On the outside, it looks like independence. On the inside, it's armor. The problem is, that armor doesn't just block betrayal. It blocks connection. It blocks intimacy. It blocks the kind of trust that makes life feel grounded instead of guarded. And over time, mistrust stops being something you do. It becomes who you are. This video isn't about telling you to trust people blindly. It's not about lowering your standards or becoming naive. It's about understanding why you stopped trusting in the first place, how that decision shaped your nervous system, and how to rebuild trust without losing your edge, your boundaries, or your self-respect. Because there's a difference between being cautious and being closed. And if you're watching this, chances are you're ready to understand that difference. You weren't born distrustful. No one starts life assuming people are going to let them down. That mindset is learned, slowly, through experience. Every time someone promised consistency and disappeared, every time loyalty turned conditional, every time you were vulnerable and it was used against you, your system took notes, not emotionally, biologically. Your nervous system learned a simple equation: closeness equals danger. So it adapted. You became more observant, more self-reliant, less open. And at first, that adaptation felt like strength. You stopped getting blindsided. You stopped expecting too much. You stopped handing people access they hadn't earned. But what began as protection slowly turned into permanent defense. The issue isn't that you don't trust people. The issue is that your body reacts as if every new connection carries the same risk as the old wounds. Your mind says, not everyone is the same. But your system says, we've seen this before. So you stay guarded even when nothing is actually threatening you. This is why mistrust feels automatic now. You're not consciously choosing it. It's happening beneath the surface. And until you understand that, you'll keep thinking trust is a personality trait, when really, it's a conditioned response. At some point, trusting others stopped feeling like a smart move. Not because you wanted control, but because relying on people kept ending the same way. Disappointment, confusion, or having to clean up the damage alone. So you adjusted. You became more self-sufficient. You stopped asking. You stopped expecting. You learned that if you handle everything yourself, no one can let you down. That shift didn't come from ego. It came from experience. You learned that promises are easy, consistency is rare, and vulnerability often comes with a cost. So you built your life around independence. You became the person who doesn't need help, doesn't lean too much, doesn't open up unless absolutely necessary. But here's the part most men don't realize. Self-reliance can quietly turn into isolation. When you rely only on yourself long enough, trust starts to feel unnecessary, even threatening. You don't just stop trusting people. You stop believing that anyone will show up for you in a meaningful way. And that belief shapes how you show up in relationships, friendships, and even opportunities. You start keeping emotional distance even when someone hasn't done anything wrong. You withhold parts of yourself preemptively, not because you're closed off by nature, but because you learned that needing others once came with consequences. And until that belief is questioned, mistrust will feel like wisdom, even when it's quietly costing you connection. The danger with mistrust isn't that it keeps you safe, it's that it quietly shrinks your world. When you stop trusting, you don't just avoid bad people. You also avoid depth. You avoid closeness. You avoid situations where something real could actually grow. You start approaching everything with one foot out the door. Relationships feel temporary. Opportunities feel suspect. Even good intentions get questioned. You tell yourself you're being careful, but what you're really doing is staying emotionally uninvested so nothing can touch you too deeply. And while that protects you from pain, it also protects you from fulfillment. This is where mistrust stops being a shield and becomes a ceiling. You don't fully relax around people. You don't fully open up. You don't fully commit. Not because you don't want to, but because your system won't let you. You're always scanning for the moment things go wrong instead of being present while they're right. Over time, this creates a strange kind of loneliness. You're surrounded by people, but you don't feel truly connected to anyone. You're functioning, but you're not grounded. And the hardest part is this: mistrust starts to feel like maturity, like wisdom, like strength, when in reality, it's just unresolved protection running the show. Until you see that clearly, you'll keep mistaking distance for control and calling it peace, even when it isn't. Rebuilding trust doesn't mean dropping your guard or letting people back in blindly. It means learning discernment instead of defense. There's a difference between being open and being exposed, and most men who struggle with trust confuse the two because no one ever showed them how to do it properly. Trust isn't something you give up front. It's something you allow gradually. You don't hand people access to your inner world. You let them earn it through consistency, behavior, and time. You stay observant without being closed. You stay grounded without being guarded. That's control. This is where strong boundaries matter. When you know you can walk away the moment someone disrespects you, trust stops feeling dangerous. You're not afraid of betrayal anymore because you trust your response to it. You know you'll leave. You know you won't overstay. You know you won't abandon yourself again. The goal isn't to trust everyone. The goal is to trust your judgment. To know that you can engage, connect, and open up without losing your footing. When you build that kind of inner stability, mistrust loosens its grip naturally. Not because people became safer, but because you became stronger. And that's the shift. From avoiding pain to being capable of handling it. You've made it this far. Here's what matters most. Learning to trust again doesn't start with other people. It starts with you. With knowing your boundaries. With knowing when to stay and when to walk away without second-guessing yourself. When you trust your ability to protect your peace, trust stops feeling like a liability. This channel isn't about telling you to open up recklessly or shut yourself off from the world. It's about building enough self-respect, clarity, and emotional control that you can engage with life without being consumed by it. That's real strength. If this video helped you understand yourself better, like the video. It helps this message reach the men who need it. Subscribe if you want deeper breakdowns on trust, boundaries, discipline, and rebuilding yourself properly. And comment below what part of this resonated with you the most. I'll see you in the next one.